Hi guys, Amy Jam here again. Thanks for tuning in. Today our topic of discussion is visualize and plan to materialize. This topic I know is super popular in terms of, manifesting and visualizing what you want your future to be. What I wanted to share with y'all is my experience and some of the tips and tricks that have worked for me to really take this foundational approach and materialize it into tangible return and assets. So let me take you all back to when I was a little tyke. I think I was about 7 years old, and at the time I would go to church with my mom every Sunday, and I had my little Bible, my little children's Bible. I'd go to Sunday school, and in Sunday school and in church I would have these last few pages in the back where I would doodle on, but not doodling as in just sketching random things. I actually, as a young child, decided to draw the things that I wanted to have in the future. So for me personally, we had always lived in apartments, and my dream was to own a home one day. So I drew a picture of a beautiful brick home with a long driveway, lots of grass, and moved on to the next page. The next page was a piece of jewelry that I always wanted to buy for my mom. She always wanted this piece of jewelry. She had lost it during the revolution, and I drew a picture of it, and I wanted to purchase it for her. The third thing that I had drawn in my Bible was a beautiful wedding that I always dreamed of having. Fast forward into my 20s, I was actually working my 9 to 5 within the IT industry, supporting the government in various aspects. And I was overhearing friends of mine who were very affluent and had the benefit of having their parents purchase a beautiful condo for them in a new skyscraper in the DC area. And I just remember sitting there thinking to myself, wow, that's so amazing. He's so lucky. I wish I could have that luxury as well. At the time, I was living with my mom in a 1-bedroom apartment. We had 2 beds in the 1 bedroom, and it was extremely cramped. And every night before I went to sleep, I would think of this future state, and I would even go down to the details in the type of furniture that I would want, the type of condo or house I wanted to buy for my mom, and that we would live, separately together. I know that's a trigger word from COVID, but really living our best lives and comfortably. I would think about, even the style of the lobby that I wanted for my home, for my mom's home, down to the details of pulling into the garage and, riding the elevator to the top floor. So every night I would think about this, and in the meantime I would hear stories about others, having support in terms of finances and reaching the next levels. I won't say that I saw myself immediately on their level, but every night I would just see the end result. I would just, and those end results with details. I would envision myself in that realm, and doing that really paved the way. The universe, all of a sudden, I received an offer from a real estate agent to help me find a home in my email, and I was like, I don't know, I'm not looking to buy. I'm, at home with my mom, but just the fact that that email came led me to want to step it up, work harder. And eventually I moved out, started renting, but those emails kept coming, and I was paying rent, enjoying the luxuries of living on my own, but not quite understanding how to elevate myself. After a couple years, those emails kept coming, and I finally decided to reach out and see if even purchasing was feasible for me. A couple people said no. They said, you don't have any assets, you need to have a hefty savings in your account. And, I was always told, if somebody says no to you, then you're talking to the wrong person. You need to find another person, and eventually you'll find someone that says yes, or they'll say a yes in the future, but you will give you guidance as to how to get there. So long story long, I found a lender that was willing to work with me as a first-time home buyer, and I was able to purchase my first home, actually in that same building that our friends' parents were purchasing for their kids. So ironically, they actually ended up pulling out of the deal, and I ended up buying there. And I think it was a true testament to, if you want it, go after it and you can get it, but you have to plan. So by planning, in my sense, it was really researching and finding the resources and talking to people and seeing what kinds of programs are available. You have to, my previous video, I talked about getting a whiteboard and writing down your goals and then breaking it down into 3 major subtasks. Well, in this case, I had actually drawn my goal in my source of truth, my spiritual source of truth, my Bible, and that had manifested in me as a young child, but didn't come into fruition until I started the movement. You have to act. You can't just manifest and sit there and think that somebody's going to knock on your door with the deed to a house. You have to get up. You have to find out the means. And the great thing about this country is there's different opportunities at different levels. For example, let's say your goal is buying your first home, but you don't have that much saved up and your income is not that high. There's really great programs. There's USDA loans, there's the FHA loans, there's different grants within different cities that provide you with down payment assistance. There's even programs that will help you with your mortgage payment. And many people reached out to me asking, well, what about, pandemics and things like COVID that came across where, people were impacted and not able to pay their mortgage. Well, I would say to them, make sure your mortgage is backed by the government. The government provides you with that cushion, with that protection, so that if we're faced with another pandemic, there are resources in place to protect you, to provide you the cushion, and so you can actually defer payments or do forbearances. Or there's so many different programs out there. You just need to get moving. So that's my first topic for today, folks. Number 1, visualize what you want, draw it, write it down, and don't lose it. Have that take root inside and take action on it. And if you don't have the resources, reach out to folks, do your research. There's so many avenues today. There's so many people that are willing to provide you with free guidance and free information. But it's up to you to reach out. It's up to you to do the vetting and see what information really applies to benefit you. So I hope this is helpful, and thank you so much for joining, and tune in again next time.